Is it wise to expect people to watch a video about a watch? Welcome to TVS, where you get multiple reviews for the price of one. Today, we're taking a look at the Wyze Watch 47C. So, why don't we get right into it? Matt, tell us about this
The
product.
Wyze Watch 47C has a 1.75-inch screen, aluminum alloy frame, fitness tracking, and a 9-day battery life for less than $50. I mean, this is quite the bargain of a smartwatch. So,
Yes. I'll jump right into it.
okay.
Since I've actually been using this product for about 3 or 4 months now. I had the previous incarnation, the Wyze Band, which was basically nothing more than a Fitbit. I gotta say, I like this. For what was it? I think I bought it mine for $35. They're currently available for 39. It looks much better than I expected. I didn't think I was gonna like it because of the size. Uh, but it's very comfortable. And also, I've put this screen through hell, literally. Working in the garage, rolling around on the floor, I've dragged this thing across the concrete over and over and over, and all I've got is a slight on this one edge up here, a slight scuff, but otherwise the screen is perfect. I mean, you can't see anything. Um, yeah, fit and finish. I think they nailed it.
Yeah, I say this watch is amazing in how much it looks and feels like an Apple iWatch. I had plenty of people who actually thought that what I was wearing for the past several weeks was an iWatch, and so if that for that reason alone, if you're trying not to stand out and you want to have a device that is going to be able to look and feel the part of a smartwatch, and this is actually an excellent choice for that because it is in fact very polished, very well put together. It is fairly comfortable. The band is okay. I actually wish the band was a little bit it's a little bit the silicone band, if in my opinion, is just I'm not a fan of this kind of band.
Give it
But
a couple weeks because
I
mine is now silky smooth.
no, it's not the smoothness. It's
Oh,
just that it's just this style of band is not my favorite, but that's okay. It is acceptable, and for most people, it will be not a problem. That it's very well put together, and I think that the guys at Wise did a very good job with with the design of this hardware.
Yeah. So I'm comparing this predominantly to my Fitbit Sense 2 or something, whatever it is. It's the newer Sense watch, Fitbit smartwatch. And so I think looks wise, it's at least as good looking, if not a little bit better. I do agree. I like the look. It has a similar look to the Apple Watch. Not being an owner of an Apple Watch, I wouldn't know what is different between this and that. Um, it looks solid and it feels solid. I like this band better than my Fitbit band, which I kind of hate.
Hmm.
It's got this weird proprietary loop hook closure thing. Um, I like the traditional watch type, old standard digital watch band is pretty good. It is changeable. I'm not sure what Wyze has available for other bands, but um, fit and finish, I would give it a solid, probably like an A. Very happy with it. Now, Jimmy, you actually have a Apple Watch to compare it to.
Yeah, I
For
do. So I've worn Apple Watches since they first come out back in 2015, right? Um, yeah, I would say, it's nice looking, right? This is a nice looking watch. It, um, we'll talk more about the functionality here in a bit, but just in terms of fit and finish, I think it is a nice looking watch, right? The only thing that I'll say is that you know, I wore it, and now, you know, now my Apple Watch, I keep two of them all the time, right? Because I wear it all the time. You know, even when I sleep, I wear it, right? So I've got this watch that I'm wearing now, and I've got another Apple Watch here that's on the charger, right? So when the battery goes out on this one, I'll put this one on the charger and put the other one on, right? And I do that for just fitness tracking, right? I exercise every day, right, and that kind of thing. So, you know, comfort, you know, is important to me. What I noticed with this watch, when you first put it on, feels fine, right? I'll say it's not as conforming to the wrist as this watch. Of course, you can see here, this is, you know, it's not the silicone, although I've had silicone watch bands before on Apple Watches, right? But after you wear this, or at least for me, right? After I wore it all day, I did notice for some reason that it started making my wrists itch a little bit, right? Don't know what that was. Maybe it was just me or something, or maybe, you know, me sweating or something like that, you know, that was causing it to itch or something like that, to where I don't get that here, right? But as far as it looks, and I think I forget who said it. I think for most people, this I think most people won't have a problem with this silicone band. And like Mike said, I think you can swap this out actually for a different band, right? If it, you know, if you're like me and you did find it to be a little itchy, you know, toward the end of the day, right?
To your point about the band, when I first got this, I did have a little bit of an issue with it grabbing like my arm hair, you know, a little bit. But after a while, this band got, it's now, it actually, there's a spot where it's got waves where it has conformed to my arm, and the whatever the top surface was when it came out of the box has worn down. It is now like very slippery and very supple. So the band has a little bit of a, I'd say, a couple week break-in period for just putting that out there. In regards to the features, this does literally everything that I need and doesn't have any of the crap I don't want. You know, I don't want to take a phone call on my watch. I have literally even turned off the app notifications because I don't care. All I wanted was I wanted the sleep tracking, the step counting, the heart rate's nice. My only complaint about the features is that you have to for what was it, the O2, it doesn't, you can't have it do the O2 automatically. You have to manually trigger that. The heart rate one will check periodically, but yeah, the O2 one, you have to manually, you can't set it to every 5 hours or whatever, which would be nice. That's really my only complaint. When it first came out of the box, the face I thought was obnoxious. I saw you guys still have that, but I got, you know, just something simple. It was right in the settings. I just picked a different face, and then you can change the faces, which you can have up to 3 faces.
Right. I never saw that face there that you showed. I did go into the app and download some of the other options, and I tried some of them out, and I found a couple of faces I did like. So,
and I will say I like this one because it's very not in your face. It's subtle. And especially since, like Jimmy said, I'll sleep with this on because how else are you going to get the sleep tracking? But the 9-hour battery, the 9-day battery is definitely, I would say, lives up to the hype. I charge this once every week and a half, and I don't even have to think about having a second one because it takes less than 2 hours to charge. So I will usually do it while I'm working. I'm going to be sitting in my chair, and I'm not going to be leaving my, for a while. But if I do need to get up, I'm not afraid to take it off the charge, you know, at 50%, just throw it back on to go do what I'm doing. So, and I mean, even at a 50% charge, that if I don't remember to recharge it that day, it still gets me a couple days before I need to do it again. So, yeah, the features, it does what I want it to do.
So this watch has one beautiful looking screen at first. When you look at what it looks like, the colors and the blacks are nice and inky black. You can get really bright with the brightness settings, but after you look at that right there, everything else about it is kind of sad because it is sluggish. It is not able to do some of the more fancier things that you might expect a smartwatch to do. It does the basics from the steps you're taking and the heart rates and your sleep tracking, absolutely. But there's a couple things that I wish it had. For example, it does not have any kind of speaker or microphone for any kind of features that could be used for that. That kind of makes sense at that really low end price for this thing. But other things some people may be expecting, like maybe GPS, or maybe or the couple things I felt like it was just software was missing. I really wish this had a flashlight app, which I cannot find. It doesn't have a calculator app, which I would use occasionally on it. And last but not least, using this outdoors with the default brightness of low, which is perfect indoors, but in the sun, it does not automatically adjust the brightness to go for a bright outdoor unit. I wish it had just a simple light sensor for that. But that would be one thing I wish it had.
If you go to the black background like I have with the bluish color, then it is visible during bright sunlight.
True, but it's still not as bright as I wish it was. It's okay.
I agree. I think you named a lot of the things that I found as difficulties with it. Probably the most frustrating thing for me was that, like, the watch face doesn't activate effectively. So with my Fitbit, just the motion of turning my hand over to look at it, it always turns on. This 60% of the time does not. And I have to literally push the button. It does sometimes.
Let me ask you, is there a specific time? Have you noticed the time where it doesn't do that? Because after a certain point at night, it stops doing it so that you don't wake yourself up while you're sleeping.
No, it definitely does it all day long.
Okay. I haven't noticed that because basically I can't do it right now because we're in nighttime and it won't do it.
It may be that it's like, I've got a bad one. Like maybe the gyroscope or whatever in there is not very good, is not picking it up. That sensor may be failing. But I found that to be a frustration. I would say like fit and finish of the exterior of the watch is very good. Fit and finish of the software is relatively poor. The heart rate monitor is not continuous. You can check it anytime you want, but you wait for a fair amount of time for it to give you a reading. I had guessed 30 seconds. I haven't actually timed it, but it's not quick. Same with the pulse ox. It takes a fair amount of time to get a reading. My Fitbit doesn't do live pulse ox. It only does sleeping pulse ox. So it's nice that I have one at all on this. There's just a couple of other little things. Overall, I would say the software is slow and a little lacking. But the battery life is absolutely killer. I've actually used this since I bought it, probably 3 times as much as my Fitbit, just because my Fitbit dies like every 2 days and I have to recharge it and I forget to put it back on after I charge it overnight. So getting 9 days out of this, and like you said, it charges fast, like that's outstanding. It's a little bulkier as a result of the big battery, but I think that's a fair trade-off.
Just on the lift to wake feature, I agree that when that doesn't work, it's frustrating. The fact that and my experience with my Android watch is that if it didn't turn on, I could double tap the screen to wake it up. And that's something this does not do. And I
Nope.
wish it could do too. You do have to
Yeah.
physically push the button to wake it up if it's not going to wake up with the lift, which minor little thing, but I suspect that's also part of its long battery life is it's not actually paying attention to those sensors while the screen's off. So,
well, I mean, but in theory it is, because it should be in order to count your steps, and it does have the step counter. So it should be actively monitoring that sensor all the time.
I will add, to get a consistent light on the screen, I have found that I use a dramatic raise of my wrist where I come up and over like that. So if I do that, then it goes bloop. If I just look up at it, but I'm also not accustomed to wearing a watch. I normally don't wear watches, which means 90% of the time when I want to see what time it is, I pull my phone out of my pocket, even though I have this thing on my wrist. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm used to doing that myself because the Fitbit is good, but it like works 100% of the time if you slightly exaggerate your swing of your arm over. So I kind of naturally do that because of the Fitbit. But it is very, very inconsistent. And not being able to tap it on, I agree, that's an annoyance.
It's like a Fire tablet. I tap on my Fire tablet all the time, and it just sits there and mocks me.
What about you, Jimmy? Features and functionality.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with what everybody said, right? The functionality, I mean, the features that it has, it does them, pretty well, right? For what it is, it just does a simple step count, right? That kind of thing. It's not going to be calories burned or anything like that, but it'll give you some fitness, like it'll give you the step count and that kind of thing. It'll monitor your heart rate, right? Doesn't give you the long history like it will on other smartwatches, right? But for me, I mean, I could, coming from an Apple Watch that's got a ton of features on it and all, and then going to something like this, yeah, I could probably sit here and say, oh, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that, and give a long list, right? But I'll say, the features as advertised, and all, I think it does, fine for that, right? But they are some features. You guys mentioned one of them, right? Like, not waking up. And let's see, there was another feature too that I noticed on here. Like when you take the watch off, right? It's still connected to your phone. It doesn't automatically disconnect. You have to go in and disconnect it, from the phone, right? To where the other smartwatches, as soon as it leaves contact of the skin, it'll disconnect from the phone. So that was something else. That was something I just kind of noticed when I had it charging, right? I noticed it was still buzzing the notifications from the phone, even though I didn't have it on and had it on the charger.
So
right?
I have a little bit more additional information about the notifications bit that bothers me about this device. It will buzz me whenever I've set it up so it tells me when I have an email, because I actually like to get notified when I get emails on my wrist. I think it's better than a ding in my pocket or something like that. But unfortunately, what it does is it buzzes my wrist once for every unread email. So if I have 2 unread emails and a third one comes in, it buzzes me 3 times, showing all 3 of those emails coming through. And so throughout a day when I'm 20 emails behind, that's 20 buzzes and 20 emails flashing on my wrist for me to wait for to see the most recent one. It does not keep track of what it has shown me in the past and allowed me to trip through. It just shows me the day's emails as unread, and I have to go and actually go and read emails in order to do it. And I'm the kind of person who goes in and reads an email and then marks it as unread to force myself to come back to that email, which means it comes back to my wrist, which is not what I was hoping it would do. I was hoping it would be smart enough in order to go, hey, by the way, you have a new email, not here's
So-
all your email.
So here's a question. I know that it would buzz when a notification is coming in, but could you guys figure out how you scroll through past notifications on here?
So you swipe down from the top, and that brings up the notifications that are
Ah,
currently on
there
your
it is.
phone.
There it is. Okay.
And that will show you everything that's currently going on your watch as far as notification goes.
Okay, yeah, I do see that there. I guess what was throwing me off, there's no indicator to let me know that there's notifications there.
Okay.
Clyde, I think you and I both have things to say about a couple of the claims Jimmy said about its tracking.
Mm.
I noticed that it does track my heart rate over time because I see those features on mine.
Mhm.
I do notice that
It does do calories.
It does pop up and tell me congratulations on your 250 calorie count for so far in the day of
Yep,
the
that's the
toaster
default.
worms.
So yeah, and if you swipe over in the step, so like from the main screen, if you swipe to the right, you'll go straight into the step count, and the first thing it shows you is calories. So a lot of stuff is there. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
Okay.
It does check your heart rate, but it is not a continuous heart rate
No.
monitor, and it's
No,
not
it's a
recording it.
periodic.
It does it like every 10 minutes or something. I don't know,
which
how
is
often,
fine
but
for me.
yeah, it's not. It is not what you would want if you're using it as a fitness tool, though. You do want to be able to get those target heart rate monitors and
It
stuff like
will
that.
do that if you put it into an exercise mode, though.
Correct, which is what I do.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yep, you
so,
turn on
I mean,
exercise mode and
so like if you, I got to bring this up. So if you go into exercise and then, so now,
no,
You're
it does
now-
not allow you to choose between many of the different exercises.
no, but
it-
you'll see that one of the things on the screen is the constant BPM. So you can see what your pace is, how many miles, how many calories you burned up to that point, and it shows you the average. But
Yeah.
but I wouldn't I wouldn't want to turn that on and leave it on all day.
no,
So
Yeah.
it fails to be a watch
so
at that point.
to your point, and also, yeah. So like right now it says at 68 BPM. I'm not even holding it, but I guess it is on my thumb. But
It's.
I don't know.
I will say that the fitness mode is also extremely unintuitive. Like
I can't.
exiting it is like, who thought that made sense? Like you swipe from the left
Yeah.
That
and then you have to click the flag to close it.
Yep.
It's like that. I mean, I guess I can understand it knowing now what it means,
I
but
just
I'm like,
I just figured it
doesn't
out
make
right
sense.
now. I was trying to figure out how to exit the workout until you said
yeah.
click the flag, and I went, oh, okay. And I've used this
Yeah.
thing for 3 months. Obviously, I don't ever put it in that mode.
Yeah, Jimmy and
But-
we had to figure this out last week when we were just chatting about it and trying it. It was like, how do we even, because we both ended up in there and we're like, neither of us can figure out how to get out for a minute. And it was just like, okay, this is not intuitive. So I mean, that goes into that fit and finish kind of thing, right? Like there's some good
Yeah.
functionality here. It's not well polished, and none of the and the software is not well polished either. So there's a couple of little issues, but talking about value,
$35.
exactly, $35.
So-
I paid $250 for this, and it definitely has better fit and finish from the software side, and it works a little better. I don't know that it works 250 $10 or $15 better though. For me, I'm not upset that I got this, but I mean, I kind of am because the battery just sucks. And
For clarification, you're talking about the Fitbit.
yes, I am talking about my Fitbit Sense. And so I'm a little annoyed that I paid $215 more and I got a super crappy battery. I kind of like Jimmy's approach, having two of them and rotating them, especially how bad the Fitbit battery is.
Is
But
it
that
worth
said,
$500 at that
yeah,
point
no, it's definitely not.
to have two of them?
I would say I would recommend this. I mean, I'm kind of skipping to my recommendation. Maybe I should wait, but my recommendation, I'm going to give it anyways. This is a great watch if you're looking for something at a budget price.
I will say, for
good value.
value, I think it is a great value. For the amount of features and the battery life for less than $50, you can't beat it. Yes, it may not be as polished and as feature rich as some other devices, but hey, you're talking $200 to $400 less. I think that makes it a good value.
Yeah, I think at 1/10 of the cost of other watches, including the one I just purchased recently. It's amazing what you get for your money. This is amazing amount of functionality for this price. This is exactly the kind of watch that my mom wanted. She said, I don't want to spend a lot of money, but I want to have these certain features. I wish I would have known about this watch because this would have fit her budget and her needs very well. And so this is something I would recommend again to those people who are looking either for a low budget or something that it does the things they need to do and want to have that long battery life. This is an excellent choice.
Jimmy.
Yeah. So I heard some adjectives there that I wouldn't use for this watch, right? Yeah, I think it's a decent value for the price, what you get. I think you get a lot of functionality for that small price, right? I do. But, take that with a grain of salt because, you're talking to a guy that's had an Apple Watch since, 2015, right? So I'm used to having that rich, feature set, on my smartwatch and all. And so, going back to this one, while it is a great price, right? But there's a lot of features that I use on my smartwatch that's just not there.
Yep.
But it is a decent value for the price, though.
Yeah. In regards to the recommend, I am not going to pay almost twice what I paid for my last truck to buy an Apple Watch.
$250.
Yep. I bought that Nissan for $200. And
okay.
This thing, if all you need is, if you're just looking for a watch that's comfortable, that does the fitness tracking, which is all I care about, sleep tracking, then $35, depending on when you get it, $39. Absolutely. It's hard to beat.
So I would call this my first smartwatch. And quite frankly, I think it's the perfect description for it because it really is a good smartwatch. It does do everything you need it to do those smartwatch things. Really, it doesn't do any of the extras that some people want, but maybe that's all you need. And if that's the case, maybe this is your last smartwatch as well. Not mine, but maybe yours.
Yeah. So what I would say is, I think it's a very good value if you're looking for a real budget. Like if you are looking for something for a kid, or if you just can't spend over $100. I do have one concern that I haven't mentioned up to this point, and that is with the accuracy of the device. I am a bit concerned that the accuracy is pretty low. I've noticed many times it's saying I have a heart rate in the neighborhood of like 67 or something. And I feel like it's just making that up because my heart rate hasn't been that low since I was like 15. There's no way, even when I'm asleep, my heart rate is higher than that. So I have some accuracy concerns, and that makes me hesitate to recommend it. But I think it's a great value if it's accurate, and I would test it. If you buy it, test it out, do some monitoring of its accuracy. And if it's accurate on you, then you're good to go. It may just be the way I wear it. It's a little loose. I don't like the watch tight. My Fitbit is accurate though, even the way I wear it. So just see if it fits you, how accurate it is. Check manually, check your steps a few times, check the heart rate manually, and see if it's accurate. And if so, then it's a good watch for you. If not, obviously it's not going to meet your needs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as far as recommending, yeah, I mean, if you've never had a smartwatch before and, you don't want to spend, $250 for a smartwatch, then yeah, I think it's a good option, right? It's a good digital watch with some smart features to it, right? But you really can't compare it to like, a full-fledged, with all the features that some of the other smartwatches have out there, right? I don't even think it's a fair comparison, right, between the two. But if you just need those few features, right, and you just want something that just tells the time, then yeah, I think it's good, right? And especially if you don't want to spend the more money on a smartwatch.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a Apple Watch. This is a fitness tracker smartwatch, closer to like the Fitbit, like Mike was comparing. So.
I would say that's fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what we think, but you should let us know what you think down in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It's absolutely free and it helps our channel a lot. So if you'd like to support the channel, check on the link in the video description to become a patron. And it's been great to have you, and we will see you later.